Hello, bench warmers, and welcome to the bench. This is officially our first episode of the bench. I'm Abdul, Arsenal fanatic, as you can tell, and we're in lockdown here in Sydney. Thought, you know what? We argue a lot about football, talk a lot about football. We might as well turn it into a podcast for everyone to hear. And over there on the other side, we've got my mate Scouser, Martin. How are you, Martin?
Oh, I'm good, Abdul. Thanks for asking. Yeah, no, picked up 3 points this weekend, so couldn't be happier.
I can't say the same about good old Gunners, but lockdown's depressing enough. Last thing I wanted was Arsenal to go 0-2 at the start of the season. So
Look, you know what? It's the meme, like you are literally the meme of like when every Arsenal fan is just sitting on the like there's a meme of it's from a movie and they're just sitting down on the ground, just staring at the ground, just not knowing what the meaning of life is. That is literally you guys.
look, hopefully there's light at the end of each tunnel. And looking at our tunnel, I haven't seen any light yet on the Mikel. So, well, aside from the FA Cup win, it hasn't been any light since. So hopefully it goes well. And yeah, so you want to tell us a bit about yourself?
Oh, what can I say? I'm a Scouser fanatic, not the blue but the red. Um, have been for a very long time. Um, yeah, no, very happy that things are a lot, better for the last couple of years. It's not like where Arsenal are at right now. Considering that we were there, I'd say what 8, 9 years ago.
Yeah, it kind of gives us hope, but we've signed a coach that hasn't coached the club before, and you guys signed a Champions League finalist, Bundesliga winner. You know,
Look, it's an impact, that one. The fact that he hasn't coached the top flight team, like, or managed a top flight team, and he's just gone straight from assistant to uh head coach. But I don't know. I really don't know how to feel about him. Like how everyone's talking about him right now, saying that he should go. Uh, Obviously, I don't like that idea. That after how long has he been there?
say about this is almost 2 years. 2 years in November.
For someone that's been there 2 years, he signed how many players that are under 23?
Arsenal fans.
Yeah, just a bit impatient on that one.
Yeah,
But
well, yeah. Look,
apparently they've given him a deadline from what I read today.
yeah. I mean, I guess that's a topic we're going to touch on later, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. I think that's where the every media outlet is pointing to right now.
Look,
So this week,
it's a big, big week. So it's in terms of FPL as well. I think I got the win on you this week.
oh, that's right, because Leicester
Yeah,
lost to
yeah.
West Ham
Big
4-1.
Mikel Antonio came through for me.
Yeah, look, I have him too, so we got the same amount of points there.
Yeah.
Um, but I had Schmeichel and Madison, so yeah, it didn't do me any favors when you pick up 3 points from two players.
I mean, I picked up 1 point from my captain, so be grateful.
Oh, that's right, Bruno. Oh, at least I picked up 6 from Salah. That's including the double.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's another topic we're touching on later as well. So, yeah. So let's get started.
I think we'll start with the first game this week, the early one, the Liverpool one. Honestly, there's not much, like, I wouldn't say that there's a lot to talk about regarding Liverpool,
Hmm.
considering it's the first few weeks and they're playing a consistent 18 players, like that are just a couple of changes. Milner had a knock, and Oxlade-Chamberlain was out. And then we had Harvey Elliott, start, or have his debut actually. It was promising. He was playing very well, so that was good to watch. Just want to see what kind of happens from there.
Yeah, I think Burnley played well as well. You got to give it to Burnley
Oh,
to hold
definitely,
to
definitely.
hold you guys to 2 goals at home with a crowd as well. So I actually tipped Burnley to go down this year. So they're kind of looking, if they hold their own like they did against Liverpool, they might stay up. But so yeah, I was impressed by their performance. I think that Liverpool could have done a bit better. Had some missed chances. Salah missed a few. Um, Mane scored.
Liverpool, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, Mane picked up his first goal of the season. I think if he can keep that up, he'll have a much, much better season than last season because I think we're all starting to forget how good Mane is. And as
Yeah.
James Redmond would say, he's the best player in the league, best player in the world. So, yeah,
Mate, you just better hope that he doesn't hear that.
right. James, mate, I mean, if you hear that, he isn't the best player in the world.
Oh, mate, I hope he hears that. I really do hope that he hears that.
I mean,
Um,
he's not even the best player at Liverpool.
yeah, look, everyone can agree, but he's definitely important.
Oh, without a doubt. I think he does play a part. I think the fact that he's kept dropped out of the team says a lot in terms of in left wing.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, he's a big piece to the puzzle. I think there are about 4 or 5 Liverpool players in that spine. So I'd say Salah, Mane, Van Dijk, Allison, and Henderson.
yeah.
Yeah, his
See, like,
leadership.
the Liverpool squad, it's not made out of like star $100 million signings.
Hmm.
It's like legit a team. Like I think when we were talking about this the other day, when we were having like a Man City Liverpool trying to determine who's got who's like what would be the best 11 out of those two teams, and I think Man City had majority of the players, but then in terms of actual team style and play, yeah, like the two teams play very differently. But I think just the squad that Liverpool have, like how they are all played together, it's second to none, really.
Hmm. Yeah, I look, I agree to a degree. I think that Liverpool we saw last season without the core part of the team really did suffer. Like Van Dijk out, then they lost all
Oh,
their centre backs, and then Henderson was out for a bit, and then got to a point where your CDMs were playing centre back, and then your Cams were playing centre mid. And at what point did Firmino start playing Cam himself? When eventually when Jota came back, so everyone was starting to slowly being pushed back down that team. So whenever
last season, you go on.
when everyone did come back, we saw this in Liverpool. But I do think they do need some reinforcements on the bench. Like you need the best teams in the league right now have quality throughout the squad, and I think
Yeah,
Liverpool's way of dealing with transfers, the way that they've built their team, in a way, is very short term. In my opinion, I feel like 3 or 4 more proper players will make that team that bit stronger. That bit more, I'd say, can compete with Man City, can compete with Chelsea and United even over the next 4 or 5 years, rather than let's hold on for 2 years, make top four, and then see what happens. That's what happened to Arsenal. I mean, back on Liverpool and Arsenal comparing, Arsenal didn't have the strongest team in the league, but had a strong enough team to compete until we slowly started to lose those players. We slowly started to lose your Sanchez's. Ozil started to dip off. We lost Ramsey. We lost Cazorla. We started to lose the core of that team. Which made it great, to be honest. But once we lost them, we slowly saw we went from fourth to fifth to sixth and to eighth and eighth again.
and eighth.
I
Yeah,
mean, it's yeah. Again, that's how I kind of see Liverpool right now, to be honest.
yeah. It's a crazy drop that Arsenal have had, but in saying that, it definitely should not be compared to that invincible '04 team.
Right.
It should not be, but it is, and I
Uh,
hate the fact that it is.
Look, I think, yeah, I agree. We're not in 2003 4. We're not invincible. Arsene Wenger isn't managing us. We don't have the best player in the league. Like it's not that team. But when you have success like that for the length that we had, I'd say over that 10 years prior between 95, 96, around those areas, all the way through to 04, 05. You can't not forget that. Like, you grew up with a club. I didn't. I only, let's be honest, like, I started watching Arsenal when they had Shamach and when they had, like, your, like, that crew, that 11, 12, Chesney was still in goal. Like, we were still rebuilding. Van Persie in his last
Yeah.
couple of years. But the people who grew up with the Invincibles only know the Invincibles. They grow up knowing Arsenal is the best team in the league, and they don't forget that. You like dipping off from going undefeated in 1 year to now losing at home. Like, I read a stat that I think Arteta's actually lost more home games in 20 months than Arsene Wenger did in his last 6 years. So
Oh, Jesus,
yeah.
Jesus. All right, it seems like we're jumping into the Arteta thing. But before we do that, let's just quickly go through the weekend that we had
Mhm.
through the EPL. So the second game, well, the bunch of midnight games, where we saw Man City win 5-0 against newly promoted Norwich. And I did hear something interesting about Norwich, how they consider themselves the top 24 teams in England.
I mean, I kind of agree with that. They're year in, year out, literally. Like, they're in 1 year, back down the other. They win the championship again, they come back in, they come back down. At what point, like, they are top 24, but who, like, with all due respect to Norwich, no one thinks of a top 24.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And it was crazy to think that it's crazy. Like when I was reading this article, I actually read it just today, and they were saying that the club they use the big finances that they get in the Premier League. Like they didn't make any star like $20 million signings. No, they just I think they made $1 million signing,
Yeah.
and um, and then they even brought in some youngsters from the top team academies. So you can't really say that they're using that money to spend big where it's just staying in the club really. So how it's being used, I don't know, but I don't want to see like I want to see a bit get it I want to see it get a bit more competitive around the bottom.
Yeah.
But just that mindset already, like losing two on the trot and
I,
then what's that saying? Are they gonna go lose 38 and just have fun? Nah, like
no,
it can't be
but
like that.
I think every team has objectives for the season, and I think Norwich's objective is to survive, but deep down they know that, look, they've kept most of it. Look at the team they have now. They've got Max Aarons, who was there 2 years ago. They've got Pookie, who was there 2 years ago. Canwell, who was there 2 years ago. Tim Krul, who was there 2 years ago. They're keeping the same core. And I mean, every other team that I've seen spends the money they get from the championship into a squad. But maybe Norwich know that they're bound to go down. They don't have let's say the facilities to match them. So they'd rather hold that money within the club, work on their youth academy, work on essentially their training facilities. Maybe so next time they do come up slowly, they stay up. Look at Leeds. Leeds were down for so long.
They were, that's true.
They
Look, it
came back
doesn't
up. Yeah. And
yeah,
the
like
manager,
it doesn't oh sorry, yeah.
yeah. Who do they have as a manager?
Isn't it that German guy?
Well, my point exactly. Like
Yeah, yeah.
the manager they brought him in to, let's say, not get embarrassed. Like every club, like look at clubs like Newcastle, clubs like Brighton. They're happy with being 14th. They're happy with being around there, knowing that their objective is just to stay up.
Look, in
So
all fairness, those bottom teams from the prize money, or not really prize money, but the money they get from the championship compared from the Premier League compared to the championship, it's a big difference. So like
yeah,
obviously that helps financially with them. But with Norwich, like it doesn't help that the first two games were against Liverpool and Man City, conceding 8 goals in those two games. Um, but what did you make of Man City's performance?
I think standard. To be honest, I think that Man City on their day, and I've told you before, I think Man City on their day are unbeatable. Honestly, they if they when they click it, they click it. They have the team, the quality. Like they can take off Mahrez, bring on Bernardo Silva, take off Bernardo Silva, bring on Jack Grealish, take off Jack Grealish, bring on Raheem Sterling. I mean, like aside from Chelsea, even Chelsea can't match that in
Yeah,
terms
and
of
Chelsea Chelsea have a very good squad. Like
Yeah, in
that's
terms of
one of the
depth,
best.
yeah, in terms of depth and quality, it's unmatched. I'd say PSG like have the best. Honestly, they probably the best first 11 in Europe. But in terms of depth, they don't match City. Like they play four competitions, go deep into four competitions. They've got a squad to I think eventually win a quadruple if they can maintain the squad. But given their performance, I think was standard. Grealish stood out. His link up play, his driving from deep as well. Mahrez came on, gave Pep a reason starting next game against Arsenal. I mean, it's probably going to be another 5-0, but for all we know,
Oh,
look,
yeah, no, Arteta can't have that one with his deadline, but yeah, no, we'll get to that.
yeah,
So what did you really make of uh Torres up front
look, I like Ferran as a player.
on the wing,
Yeah,
wherever they like rotated? Because I noticed that they did.
I think Ferran as a striker reminds me a bit of Aguero. That sort of not the biggest striker. He's not. I wouldn't say the fastest, but he's fairly quick. I think that he doesn't have the what's it called? There's too many wingers in that team for him to fight his way onto a spot on the wing. I think that if he bides his time with Man City at striker, I think that's his position. But
Well,
depends if
that's
they sign
that's
Kane.
if so yeah, Harry Kane. That's the big question mark because
Yeah,
at that point we don't know what's going to happen there.
he's got the speed, he's got the skill. We saw in the Euros with Spain that he can pass the ball like no other. He can cross the ball in like no other. I mean, all he needed was a decent striker with Spain. But Moreno and Morata were just like standard to like their quality. We know Morata and his time at Chelsea and how many goals he's missed. Pretty sure he was offside the most in Europe in terms of chances. Like it's a good player. I just feel that if he doesn't have a season or two which are quality, with City, I think his time might be limited if they get Kane because he's not ahead of Sterling, he's not ahead of Mahrez, he's not ahead of Grealish or Foden. So that's fifth in ranks on wingers, and I'd say ahead of Jesus at striker. Poor Jesus, the only striker at the club, and he's playing second fiddle to my striker. So
Yeah, honestly, like
yeah,
who knows what's even going to happen with him because there's been reports of him moving as well. Like considering that the when does the transfer season end? It's like 9th of September or something.
isn't it the end of August? Well,
I
they've
think it
yeah,
got pushed back. Oh, I
yeah.
can't even remember.
Well, they've got at least a week or two. I think
What?
they've got time. But irregardless, I still feel that if they don't get a striker, uh, they've got more than enough. A striker will just kill it off. I think they get a striker, pack the league, and just send it from now.
Look, here's a shout for next season. If they don't sign Harry Kane and Danny Ings has a hell of a season, they're going to go shopping at Aston Villa again.
Oh, I would say Aston
But
Villa. You forget Haaland's available for 70 mil at the next window.
did you see Danny Ings' goal?
Mate, I'd Wayne Rooney-esque, don't get me wrong, but you know, he's like 35, isn't he? 33.
Nah. He's still got some years in him.
Yes, yeah. Look, well, he didn't really perform at Liverpool, did he?
He hardly played at Liverpool. I feel sorry for the guy. Like I personally like him as a striker. Like
Mm,
on FIFA when he first joined, I was always using him. Um, I've got him in my fantasy team. Like massive fan of him,
mm,
but it just didn't work for him at Liverpool. I don't know why. I wish that it did, but it just wasn't meant to be really.
yeah. I mean, look, if he keeps performing, I'll keep him in my fantasy team. In terms of going to Man City, I don't know about that, mate. So,
Oh yeah, nah. Look, who knows what's gonna happen because Man City they're gonna obviously opt for the best of the best, and right now that's Harry Kane, whereas Danny Ings doesn't even compare to that. But anyways, that was just a shout. But moving on, um, Aston Villa versus Newcastle. So besides Danny Ings' amazing goal, that's like goal of the season contender.
yeah,
Um, what did you make of Newcastle's performance?
a club struggling a little bit, to be honest. Like, I wouldn't say it's danger time, but I feel like Newcastle, obviously with the takeover thing and all of that, like the failed takeover, is Steve Bruce really the way to go? At what point do you stop and think that, okay, his football isn't working? He's got the players. Sam Maximan's a top player. I'm not just talking in FIFA. I mean, in real life as well, he's a top quality player. You've got Joe Willock. They've
Yeah.
signed him from Arsenal. Like 7 goals in the last 7 games of the season last season. Only
And how old is he?
22, 21, 22.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
and
he's fairly young.
yeah, only Alan Shearer matched that record ever. So I genuinely think that they've got the players. Like that's play like and the Brufka at the back, quality keeper. You go even John Joe Shelby, guys still got it. So yeah,
Mate, that's a Liverpool legend when we were getting eighth place.
yeah. I mean, it's probably a reason why you're getting eighth place with John Joe Shelby in the midfield. But in terms of Newcastle, it's his level of club. No disrespect to him, but I don't rate Steve Bruce. I don't think Steve Bruce is gonna take them anywhere above 14th, 13th, 14th. So
Brewski.
yeah,
Yeah, that's fair. But I think for Aston Villa, it was more of the same,
mm.
really. Like, I think since last season, they were a quality side last season. And then this was really they had Grealish, and then really sold him and bought Danny Ings. Did they make any other signings?
Danny Ings, Emiliano Buendia. They went and bought
Yeah,
Leon
that's
Bailey.
right. That's
Yeah,
right.
Leon Bailey as well. They've made signings, man. That's a
Yeah.
brand spanking new front three. And
Yeah.
honestly, like, not like it's up to. I'm not saying top four, top six, but in terms of a front three, Leon Bailey's top winger. He's a world class winger. I wouldn't call him onto the levels of Sterling and Salah and Mane, but he's a level or two below that. Buendia. Buendia was the best player in the championship last year, and he was under 40 million as well. So it's a big signing. Danny Ings is proven. We don't need to talk about Danny Ings. We know what he can do, what he did for Southampton as well. So yeah,
Yeah, I think he kept them out of getting relegated like a couple seasons.
yeah.
He's consistent. But yeah, considering Aston Villa did finish 11th, I I don't know, for some reason I can picture them leaning more towards the top half now. There's a lot of competition for that top six, and I think from the 6th to 12th, it's going to be close.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have teams like, honestly, Spurs. You're gonna have. I'd push it from fifth to 12th. I'd say,
Yeah, fifth,
yeah,
5th to 12th. Yeah,
I'd say
I can agree
Leicester,
on that.
West Ham have to start playing European football. They don't have the squad to play 5 competitions. Like as good as they are right now, and as good as Moyes has made them be, the Europa League has a lot more games than the Champions League. So you're gonna have to spread your squad
Yeah,
thin, go play in Bulgaria on like Wednesday night, come back to play, uh, I don't know, Manchester City at the Etihad on the Saturday, and then next Wednesday go to the Ukraine to play some team over there. So I don't think West Ham have the facilities to be able
to
to
play
week in, week out, every 3, 4
play three
days.
games a week.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I wouldn't, and no disrespect to Moyes, like I watched the game yesterday at 5 in the morning, and I genuinely think that the way they play is just, it's nice, it's flowing football. Benrahma, Antonio, like the link up there was top notch. Declan Rice, he's starting to look more class. Like I'm reading into him wanting to leave as well. So if he leaves,
that's a big
that's their captain as
impact on the
well.
team.
That's
It
their
is,
captain,
it
yeah.
is. But
So yeah,
West Ham, like their performance against Leicester, 4-1. Antonio, absolutely outstanding. Well, the past 2 weeks really,
yeah.
and just remember that guy was a right back.
Yeah. Like as the commentator said, he's like not bad for a right back. So
Yeah,
yeah, I like Antonio. I think he has the tools, but he's 32 at the end of the day. How long is he going to keep this up for? And as same thing, the commentator said, he's playing like a guy trying to catch up, and in a good way, in the sense of he's known he's missed out on years and years of being a striker, and he's almost catching up on it now. He's just scored his 51st goal, and how long has he been playing as a striker? Not it has been 3, 4, 5 years, I think. So
yeah,
again, not too bad for a right back.
yeah. Really, that it was a good performance there. Um, Now, an interesting game. Southampton and Man U.
Yeah, I watched that game for this one reason only. My captain Bruno Fernandes. So yeah, for that night I was singing Bruno Bruno. It came
And
from Paulinho
also
Cristiano.
And also, can we just let the viewers know that because I had captain Salah, and he got a clean sheet and 2 points, so three, double, six. You were laughing. You were absolutely laughing. You were like, I've got it in the bag. I've got it in the bag. And then did he play a full game? I don't know. Yeah, he played a full game,
We played the
Bruno,
full
and
game.
then he got the yellow card, which only gave him 1 point.
Look,
So
you conceded defeat at that point as well, if I remember correctly. So I think Karma just came back and beat me in the ass. So that's
oh, definitely, definitely. I was definitely worried at that point for our fantasy Premier League teams. Yeah, no, I mind you, I won the first week, and I wanted to keep that going against Abdul,
well,
but
came back
unfortunately, that didn't
strongest.
go.
Hey, you only won because you triple. As in, that's what I've said. You won because of that triple captaincy on Salah. 17 became 51. I captained him as well. So no, yeah, I captained him. I had Bruno as well, but I told you, I'm like, that triple captaincy saved you. And again, I can say the same thing this week. That triple captaincy saved you.
Yeah, yeah, because I think I'm still in the lead between
Yeah,
us.
you needed to
I
make
think,
up 9 points because I picked up the bonus points on a few of my players. So
yeah,
yeah, I think I won by 6 points this week. Yeah, so I still need to make up another 6 points to catch up from last week. But yeah,
what can I say? What can I say?
look, I made the right trades. Greenwood came in clutch. Mount only had 6 points, so Greenwood came in with 10, and I think picked up an extra
Yeah,
bonus point or two as well. So trades have been working out well. But yeah,
yeah. Um, yeah, well, in terms of trades, one team that's sort of surprising everyone, Brentford picked up a clean sheet against Crystal Palace. Um, yeah, I know. Look, for you, you're probably thinking, oh Lord, you just can't forget that game week one, the Friday night, or for us here in Sydney, Saturday morning. So yeah, that 2-0 defeat, that had to hurt. And I remember hearing everything after the Arsenal, AFTV, all the fans just absolutely forgetting the meaning of life.
look, I'm gonna say one thing. Brentford are very lead-esque the way they play. Like it's very high pressure. They want to play in a 4-4-2 and just press the living hell out of you all the full 90 minutes. I'm not going to make excuses for us, but we didn't have a full strength squad. 2 days before the game, three of
Oh,
the players caught COVID and they couldn't play.
oh, no, no, no. Like, fair enough, man. Fair enough. If anyone understands a depleted squad, it's me.
Hmm. Oh,
We played 3 quarters of a season
yeah, I
with
know, I know. I know. It's
at least 8 players out. Yeah,
you were looking at eighth place last year with us, so it wasn't.
we were. We
Yeah,
were.
look, I know what you mean, and at the end of the day, respect to Brentford. I think Brentford honestly might stay up this year. If they can keep this up, they might stay up. But I remember
So far.
Norwich
So
2 years
far.
ago, if you remember,
Yeah. Team
started off
Team you
really well.
picky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pick
He
your
he
part.
got it.
Yeah, the picky
What did they
party.
say?
It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
a
that. Yeah. But then with Crystal Palace, your Arsenal legend is that a club? Crystal Palace?
they grooming
Should
him
he
for one
be
job and one job only, mate.
so? Should he be happy with that nil draw, or is that a disappointing outlook?
I think they have to be doing better. They've got the players. Zaha, AU still quality. Ezzy in the midfield, top player. Like they have a decent team. Like I truly believe that Crystal Palace. I think I've tipped them to go down. But for the sake of Patrick Vieira and the team he has, he should be doing better. But I think the same thing happened with Arsenal when Arsene Wenger left. I think Crystal Palace are going to suffer without Roy Hodgson. That guy knew how to keep a team together.
I don't know how. He just did it. I remember when he was coaching at Liverpool, like we had no clue what was going on, and somehow we were still playing good against the top three teams. I don't know how, but we were doing it. So yeah.
It's Roy Hodgson,
Uh,
mate. What do you expect?
another game. Leeds United and Everton. That was a 2-2 draw. Um, I I think that was a very even game, and I think Leeds United now that they're looking like a team that's competing with Everton in terms of that. They're mid-table but wanting to push for more,
Yeah,
and
they'll
and
get
I
there.
don't know, whether to like compare, or sort of can compare them to Arsenal, but because Arsenal's been on the fall where Leeds is sort of on the rise, so like it's hard to compare in that sense.
Yeah.
Um, but in terms of that game, that 2-2 game with Everton,
Hmm.
I think I was very happy. Rafinha got the goal, so it did my fantasy team very very solid there. Um, and then that they got their first goal as well. But looking at Everton, their squad, I think they were unlucky to win. Oh my God, I consider Everton to have played better.
Yeah, to a degree. I think that
It was a very
Everton,
open game, but
yeah, I think the way Rafa plays is very, I want to say open, but it's direct. He doesn't mess around with his tactics. Rafa Benitez is known to be, well, he didn't win the Champions League for nothing. He didn't go to the big clubs and coach them for nothing. He's a top quality coach.
oh,
But
he's a goat, mate. He's a goat.
can they maintain it with the squad they have? Rodriguez doesn't look like he's going to ever play a game for Everton again, by the sounds of it. The way he's talking online and doing all of that. Leeds, I worry for a bit because there hasn't been many additions to that team. I feel like everyone's kind of found
Yeah.
them out in a sense. And if Brentford stay up, the same thing's going to happen there. If you look at Sheffield 2 years ago, Sheffield came up, finished eighth their first season, or eighth or ninth, and then the next season they got found out. And what happened?
Yeah, but I think with that, it's a bit different because didn't Henderson get bought out by United after that season?
Yes, but like it doesn't like it shouldn't make that much of a difference because they got Aaron Ramsdale. Aaron Ramsdale was more than I wouldn't say better than Henderson, but still a top quality keeper at the end of the day. So I don't think it made that big of a difference. You realize, like, I just think they got found out, and the crowd not being there made a big difference. You got to realize, like, I forgot what a full Emirates looked like on TV. Like seeing it just looked weird, if I'm honest with you. So it's if we're not used to it, imagine how the players are.
Well, look, maybe 10 years ago or 15 years ago when things were a lot different, fans would have been happier, but surely, like, surely, the main thing I'm thinking about is Granit Xhaka, honestly. That's the main thing I'm thinking about. I can't, like, I'm speechless when I talk about that. It baffles me to think that that actually happened, that whole incident.
And you know what? He's just signed the new contract.
And it ruins me to think that how did he sign considering he copped all that?
Yeah, but fans like that, or like you see them all over the world. Did you see what happened in Nice like yesterday?
No, what happened?
So Nice and Marseille had a match. Apparently, the whole game, the Nice fans were just trolling, throwing stuff, just pretty much just being absolute like uh, that's not football. Eventually, Dimitri Payet picked up a bottle that they got thrown at him, threw it back, and then the fans got onto the pitch. It came a brawl between the players. The fans came on. Guendouzi and one other player had strangle marks. Payet apparently had a bruise or a cut somewhere. So it just became an all-out brawl. Like it's. I'm telling you, fans like they're all over the world. You see Arsenal fans, yes, they're toxic. Man United have it. Liverpool fans, there's probably some minority that are like that because they seem like they're happy with everything that Klopp does. He could tell them we're going to sell all our players and put out our under 16s, and they'll trust him. But there's probably
You
some
know what?
minority somewhere. Yeah, I know.
I actually would. And I remember that game we played, the FA Cup game, we played against Villa and we lost 5-0, but it was against the Villa played the under 23s.
Yeah.
And Villa were absolutely spewing because we didn't have any of our big stars to play
Mm.
because they were all playing at the Club World Cup. And No team wanted, or no media or broadcasting media outlet wanted to actually show the game or international one.
I mean, yeah, it's what do you expect, but playing kids.
That's true. That's true. That's true. But not gonna lie, when Klopp said the under 23s coach will be there, I was not worried. You know what? I was like, you know what? If we lose, I'm not too mad because like as much as I want Liverpool to win every single game there is, I just wasn't fussed. Obviously, we're playing in the Club World Cup, but different story. But obviously, having the under 23s playing against a full like first team Aston Villa, I was like, whatever happens, happens. Like these guys are gonna have a massive learning experience, um, and in a few years' time, they will be ahead of everyone in the game, their age.
Yeah, it's agreeable to a point. Like you still, I feel like you, maybe to Klopp it was more valuable that they'd go through and win the Club World Cup, but yeah, everyone has their opinion on that. I think maybe he should have split the squads in two, because Aston Villa are probably a stronger team than Flamengo. So you know, and
Yeah,
we ended up signing one of the players from Flamengo after that game. So Pablo Mari. So he was playing at centre back that game, and we picked him up, I think, for 5 million. And you
oh,
know, I
he
wish
got
we could send him back right now. So
he got absolutely done by Lukaku. That
forget
was
Lukaku, bro. Ivan Tony, Ivan Tony. Anyway,
um,
that's a discussion for a later topic. But yeah, yeah.
well, you know what? To run through these, the only games we're really missing are um,
I think Tottenham
Brighton,
and Wolves, and then
Tottenham.
Brighton.
Yeah, and then we can get into that big one. There's so much to say, honestly. There is actually so much to say. I'm just, my brain's just thinking through every little thing that I've read today and yesterday, just after that defeat. Every commentator, every fan, every video is just coming out. But we'll get there soon. We'll get there soon, guys. So Brighton and Watford. Brighton won 2-0.
Yeah.
Now, not now losing Ben White. They've done well for these 2 weeks. They're on 6 points. Only one goal conceded, and that was to Burnley, and that was in the second minute. So the first 2 minutes of their season, they conceded a goal. But so far for the other, or the 88 of that game and the 90 of this game, they looked pretty solid. I don't know. I don't know where to think they will end up. But considering it's only yes, like it's only two games in, there's still another 36 to go.
Mm.
Um, but I think there's going to be a lot of teams battling, or in terms of like relegation, like it won't be like just a relegation battle. I think it'll be like the bottom half fighting, and then the top half in their own like two little separate comps, really.
Uh, I, you know what? I have a feeling it's going to be a bottom three or a bottom two that are just going to be gone out for the count from the get go. And I
So you reckon
genuinely,
Norwich?
I'd say yeah, Norwich, and I wouldn't say Brentford. It's gonna have to be one of those teams that it's like a Crystal Palace or something. It's gonna be a Newcastle, Crystal Palace, something like that.
So
I
you
hope
want
not.
some?
I don't want Newcastle going down because I rate Willock. I like Willock. He's come out of our academy, and I was like he. I don't think we should have sold him personally, but unless we're getting another player that I don't know about right now, but it's probably worth it then. But right now, I don't want him going down. It will only kill someone's confidence. Like imagine being the club's biggest signing for that season, and then you just go downhill and end up in the championship. So last thing you want is that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So Brighton, yeah, no, they were very very convincing. I thought, it was solid. It was a different look. Like it was a very positive look that they had,
Yeah,
and like Adam Lallana in that midfield, um, and then they Basuma. He had a cracker game, top game.
top player, and you know what? He could be picked up by a big club. He wanted to
That's what I
join
think.
Arsenal in the preseason, but they decided to go with. Honestly, I think they're the exact same player in Lokonga. Like they play the exact same
Yeah.
way. Well, what are you going to do? But he needs to be picked up by a big club. But Brighton, I think, could be Sheffield from 2 years ago, if you ask me.
Honestly, that is a shout. That is a shout. Their keeper, Sanchez, he's been
Yeah,
doing very solid.
yeah, he's 6 points for me this weekend from Sanchez, so I'm more than
Yeah.
happy with that.
Oh, yeah, of course you would be.
Right.
Oh, but Watford, like, what do we make of them?
They're missing a few. Like when I watch Watford, I think you see Ismail Assar. I think he's probably the one that catches your eye, but I don't really like. You don't fear Watford. Like you're not meant to. No disrespect to them, but like you look at their team, and even as an Arsenal or as a Liverpool, you don't really feel like
Yeah,
there's a player that's gonna cause us trouble. Like as bad as
yeah,
we are, like lately, I'm gonna be confident going into Watford because like you put Tini against Saar, who else do you have left? Troy Deeney. I think that's about it. But
yeah. Troy Deeney, they got Danny Rose, who was at Spurs a couple of years ago.
yeah,
So they got Ben Foster as well. So, and then they've also got Joshua King, who was at Bournemouth. So these guys aren't bad individuals, but it's just more so can they really connect as a team?
that's the thing. I feel like it's them and Norwich, 19 and 20. I feel 18th is wide open, but I truly believe that it's more so going to be like 12th to 18 fighting for those spots, and then let's say 1 to 4 is pretty set. I'd say 5 to 12, and then 12 to 18
Yeah,
is going to be the two logs, and then 19, 20s. Norwich and Watford right now. I can't see anyone else really, either one of the two doing enough this season. Not with the way everyone's spending in the Premier League and like even teams like Newcastle picking up players, teams like Aston Villa spent the money on Grealish really well. Like Brighton,
yeah,
the way Brighton are playing, that's very positive football, and I think that they'll do more than enough to stay up.
yeah. And I think the fact that everyone expected them to have a horrible defense,
Mm.
and concede many goals, losing Ben White,
Yeah,
but so far, one goal conceded, one clean sheet.
it's done me
It,
the
it,
wonders,
it,
mate, with Sanchez in goal. So let's go Brighton.
oh yeah, far out. You're gonna be that's all you're gonna be going on about now.
Yeah.
So next game, interesting one. This was on the same time as the Man U game,
Mm.
Tottenham and Wolves at the Molyneux. Now, apart from that penalty, would you say that was a draw performance?
Look, it's 6 words. What do we think of Tottenham?
All right, all right. But let
No,
me
no.
just, but
Look, sorry. With all
but
due respect,
yeah,
I don't think that they've got. Well, they beat City on the counter and then beat Wolves via a penalty.
yeah. But let me just show you that they were more clinical because the stats here, they had 25 shots.
Mm.
Wolves had 25 shots, 6 on target, and then 9 off target. So out of 25 shots, to not get one, you must be spewing. And they had 58% possession.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously, possession is not a big thing anymore since Liverpool really showed everyone how it was done a couple of years ago against that Man City team.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like in terms of everything, they blocked more shots, even though that doesn't really go to much. They had 470 passes compared to Tottenham's 356. So far, everything's really saying Wolves are really like we're dominating. They had a better passing accuracy of 84%.
Yeah.
More long balls played in, more crosses, corners. They were pretty even there. Um, Tottenham just being one off, and even the tackles, they were they were honestly winning in every single part, in every single aspect of the game, from duels one, aerial duels, tackles, and then the take-ons, and even like this is how like shows discipline as well. Obviously, they had 2 more fouls, but only 1 yellow card compared to Tottenham's 4.
Okay. See, I've got a point against that in the sense of they've played at Manchester City, who that first week honestly looked like they haven't played a single game together, and fair play to them. Most of them just come back from the international leave. Jack Grealish has just joined City, and like it's just they were playing Cole. Like they brought on Cole Palmer this week, shows that depth isn't all back yet. And they
Yeah,
were same thing. They were outshotted by Man City, probably outpassed. The same thing as the Wolves game. But I do think that they're going to come up against a team who will have 25 shots and bang in 6 goals. They've just been
yeah,
lucky
like
the
it
first
will
2 weeks
happen.
that these teams have been unclinical. And they've signed Nuno. And we all know what Nuno is like at Wolves. He loves his back five, 5-3-2, like 5-4-1, whatever he does. Has one
Yeah,
winger running down the other, one winger running down the other wing, and his strikers just sitting there trying to be like, look at Raul Jimenez and Harry Kane, very similar strikers.
they are, and I think I think if Harry Kane does go, we'll see a few more Wolves players join. Because right now, we did hear that Adama Traore might be on his way to Tottenham.
Ah,
That is a big transfer, and I think that's considering their squad and who they have. I think a backup striker is needed more than Adama Traore. Even though Adama Traore is an absolute machine, I just I
yeah,
just don't know. Like I haven't really seen him play striker.
no, unless,
Like can
yeah, unless we're talking about
unless Son jumps
FIFA.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah, like but FIFA's so different to real life. But
yeah. Look, I do think with Spurs, like, no disrespect to Nuno, I just think that you've signed a mid-table coach.
yeah,
Let's be honest with ourselves here. I know I can't speak too much as an Arsenal fan right now because, well, I can. Our manager has actually won a trophy in his first, what was it, 3-4 months, where Spurs have won a trophy in 61 long years. So, yeah, like I, I don't feel for them because I wish they like I'd love for them to get relegated. So, mid-table
Jesus.
club, mid-table coach. I mean, we're in relegation right now, but who the hell cares? So they lose Kane. I don't think they're going to recover. That's, I'd say, 13 assists and 25 odd goals you have to replace. Same situation with Barcelona and Messi. That's 30 goals and 20 assists you have to
Is
replace
it
this
more
season.
so now talking about Harry Kane? Is it more so they wouldn't sell him at all, or for the right price?
It's the right price, but he's being stingy right now. He's being, I want 150, and we all know Man City. Then if they want him, they're gonna go pay the 150, and it's more so that it just shows that Levy is just being, we'll use the right word here, um, not a very nice man, not a very fair man. That's probably the PG way to put it. So, if the right thing to do is to sell him at his valuation, I don't think no one in he's not a Messi in his prime. He's not Ronaldo in his prime. He's not even a Haaland or an Mbappe or a Neymar, Harry Kane. With all due respect, he's a top striker, one of the best in the world. But at 160, I don't know. I'd rather hold out for Haaland at 70. He's like, it's not right because Tottenham don't have enough buying power, in my opinion. No one really wants to join Tottenham. Like, no one goes up saying, "Hey, I want to play for Spurs." So, but
Unless you've been a major fanatic like
your
since you were
whole
born,
life.
and yeah,
But yeah, but who willingly chooses Spurs as a club to support? And that's like it's probably coming from an Arsenal fan. I understand that, but look at who
well,
they've
look,
signed lately.
look,
Romero.
you guys could be thought of the same as well. To be honest, like at this moment in time, yeah, no, it's crazy to think that like a couple of years ago, Tottenham were like in Champions League spots, and then they were in a semi-final and in a Champions League final.
And
So
now they've lost Poch. I think they should have never sacked the guy personally. And I think that you lose Harry Kane, that's the end of Tottenham. That like honestly, they're gonna become a club.
but but mind you, they got to the Champions League final without him. You got to remember that he was injured.
Yeah, he. It's not. But look at the coach they had. Like they had a world top coach. Even like when before Pep re-signed his latest contract, Man City were after Poch, Man United were after Poch. Even we were after Poch at one point. The whole Barcelona, Real Madrid,
Yeah,
the whole world was vying for that coach. And when you release a coach and the whole world's vying for him, then at what point can you turn around and say, okay, we've made a mistake to sign Jose Mourinho, have to rebuild a whole team around Jose just to sack him right before a final, and then to sack him, play your assistant coach for 3 games, and then
yeah,
sign 11 rejections later, sign a coach. What does that say about the club? Come on.
yeah. Well, I'm very happy for Poch now. He's at probably the team with the best squad.
I mean,
He's
unlimited transfers, whatever you want.
and he picked up Genie, so I think that's a great signing.
Yeah.
I think probably potentially better than Messi, but we'll see what happens there. Oh,
All
now,
right, and Hector Bellerin's the best right back in the world, but you don't see me bragging.
oh, but yeah, no, I think that game it could have gone either way.
Mm.
Unlucky for Wolves, really. I think that was well, considering Tottenham beat Man City, they were sort of like they were probably thinking, oh yeah, we can get Wolves, but
Did
I'd
you
say
watch the
very
game?
lucky.
Did you watch that City Spurs game?
I did watch. I did watch. The that 40 minute
Yeah,
match on that they're doing Opta Sport.
the Spurs were lucky.
Because yeah, like that were. It was on at the same time as the Man U and Southampton game. So yeah, obviously for your fantasy Premier League captain, I paid more attention to that. Wanted to see if he could get sent off. He did half the job, but it wasn't the full job.
Yeah. Look, as an Arsenal fan, as much as I hate United, Bruno does well in fantasy, so have to bite my tongue and pick him there. But as I was mentioning before, last week's game with City and Spurs, like it's just City being wasteful. Same week, Wolves being wasteful. I'll reiterate what I said before. They're going to come against a team who's going to have 25 shots and bang in 6, 7 goals. They're going to come up against a Chelsea with a Lukaku who's just going to bust through Eric Dyer. Like, look, they've got a fragile back four at the end of the day, and like I feel lucky to be holding on to what they've got right now. As I said, if Kane leaves, good luck, because if he's going to start bringing in Wolves players, they're going to become a Wolves mid-table team. Look up to Wolves. Like at the end of the day, if he's going to turn Tottenham Hotspur into Portuguese Hotspur, um, good luck to that
Oh
guy.
mate, I'd love it. I'd love it.
I read a rumor.
Um,
Apparently, Spurs are in for Ronaldo as well. So I'm not
well,
kidding.
I read Ronaldo, but then I read something about Liverpool with Mbappe. Now that's been around a while, but I think that sort of got me more excited today.
That's probably more realistic as well. Whereas, have you seen that video with the man asking? It's like he's asking an Asian guy if he knows about Tottenham Hotspur, and he's
No.
like to him, "Who?
Oh,
Tottenham Hotspur? Who?" And he starts laughing. He's like, "Is that even a real club?" Yeah, that's Ronaldo. When his manager tells him, "Oh, Spurs are in for you." Who?
I think with Ronaldo it's more about money. He's just gonna see where or see for the right price anything can happen these days.
He'd rather go back to the Portuguese league than sign with Spurs, and we all know that.
Well, he's what 35. Oh, I think he should. I think the whole Ronaldo rumor, unless it's not PSG,
I love that.
then but that's only gonna happen if Mbappe leaves, and I don't know how I feel about Mbappe leaving.
You know what? If PSG do football a good deed and sign Ronaldo, like I've got no problem with Mbappe leaving. I'm a Madrid fan at the end of the day. Like as I'm an Arsenal fan, but I support Madrid in terms of in Spain.
Yeah, you heard that, everyone. Heard that. It's glory hunting season.
I've been
Here we
supporting
are, the
them.
num.
No. I've been supporting them for a while, mate. For a while.
Nah, bro. Glory hunters are us. Here we are on the bench.
All right, calm down, Mister. I watch PSG games at 5 in the morning.
Yeah, what can I say?
You want
They're
glory
actually
hunting, mate? That's glory hunting.
no, but I'm not saying I'm a fan. I'm just watching a good team play.
Look. In terms of Real Madrid, I actually did watch part of their game the other day. So they were playing, I think, Levante, and
Yeah, that was a cracker of a game. I did share something on my Facebook.
The keeper came out and yeah. Oh,
You know
man.
what? That's a big like. I respect that decision
Hmm.
because from that position he was sort of through. Like he could have just taken a quick few touches, and then obviously where the Madrid centre back was, like you weren't too sure if he was going to be able to get it if he went straight through the keeper. But no, it was very very
Yeah.
solid. So now I was happy that that happened because it sort of made something exciting.
Hmm.
Um, Now hopefully the suspension is not too long because like that's just gonna be a dud, um, like unfortunate thing to happen. But in the way he picked up a point against Madrid.
Yeah, I mean they were up 3-1 at one point, so
They
like
look they were, and they could have easily been down 4-3.
yeah. Well, they defended it really well. I don't think the centre back that jumped in goal ever had to even touch the ball, so that worked out well for them. But
Oh,
yeah,
credit,
not too bad.
credit.
But
Um,
yeah,
yeah, no, I think now it's time to unleash the beast. What what was that Arsenal versus Chelsea? Like in terms of an Arsenal fan, I'm sure you've got many things to say on it. Um, but after watching the game and knowing how everything's happening with Mikel and how everything's going with Chelsea, like surely you weren't expecting a point.
look, well, I'm gonna start off with a few points. We have a lot of players out. So going into that game, our first choice centre back pairing are both out, Ben White and Gabriel, and like as
Yeah.
in terms of the way we want to play, they're vital.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like you were a depleted team after all.
we don't have a proper right back, and with all due respect to Bellerin, and said Bellerin's past best is way behind him. That ACL injury, he never recovered from that. Cedric Suarez is like that bloke's just he's a good player when he wants to be, but I feel like it's a similar thing to Trent where he's actually good in attack. He's really good going forward, but I can't trust him. Not with Rob Holding next to him. Or Rob Holding as well. Like I've seen him put in a shift against Mane, but between him
Yeah.
and Pablo Mari, Lukaku was having a freaking field day. Like he was putting
Yeah.
Pablo Mari on the floor multiple times. I mean, Ivan Toney did it last week. Why? Like this is what I mean. You see that in terms of Mikel, you see that your centre backs were struggling last week. Ben White struggled next to Murray. He constantly had to clean up behind him, clean up behind Chambers at right back. You could see that Chambers was struggling. He changed it. He played Suarez. Why you see that Pablo Mari was struggling? Why aren't you taking him out of the team? And okay, if he's going to struggle against Ivan Toney, what makes you think he's going to play well against Fernal? He's going to play well against Lukaku. He's struggling for pace. He's struggling for strength. He's struggling to keep up with players. Play Chambers at centre back. Like it's not as like it's not rocket science. Like it's not suited to the game. He still wants to play that high line, the passing out the back. He still wants to take teams on when you clearly don't have the players to do that. Saka was not fit, clearly not fit. Cost us 2 goals down that left hand side where he should have been.
Yeah.
You know, Aubameyang's just come back. Okay, fair enough. Play Balogun. Okay, you know you're not going to win the game. Put your youth in. You'll at least get some energy out of them. Like,
Well,
yeah.
speaking of youth, um, this whole transfer season has been very interesting. I personally rate it, but I'm a very patient person. Like myself as an individual, I know that like these things do take time, and you can't expect a 23-year-old to shine on game week one for of them. But it's definitely a project Arteta's got there. Now, I don't think that he should be sacked, but what I heard today was that they gave him, or there's been some sort of deadline, and they've given him 5 games. And mind you, these 5 games for you in the Premier League are
Uneasy.
Man City, Norwich, Burnley,
Mm.
Spurs, and Brighton. Now, surely, I can probably say you would expect at least 6 points, but there's a couple games there that could go any way.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
a draw would be realistic.
We're not
Like
beating
you
Man
could
City.
probably, yeah, like
Let's
as
just get
much
that out
as
there.
like as much as I want to see Man City drop more points to London teams, um, I just don't think that will happen.
Yeah.
I want to be shocked. Realistically, I want that to happen, but I honestly don't know. Yeah, no, I don't think that's going to be happening, especially with how they got such a big squad.
Yeah.
And I think they had a big wake up call after Tottenham,
Mm.
because they were, yes, they played Norwich, and no disrespect to Norwich, um, it was clear that like this team that had spent less than 10 mil was playing a team that casually spends 100 mil a season, and it shows. It shows.
Yeah.
Um, like I think at one point, like in the last 20 minutes of that Man City game, they were just sort of playing for fun, really. And look, Chelsea were as well. So it was sort of like interesting to see because in terms of those two teams at the very top. But being an Arsenal fan, that must really really annoy you when the team just taking the piss at the end.
Yeah. I could tell Chelsea was starting to just pass the ball around and the way they were flicking it. Like it's, but we deserve it. Like I do want to get onto the whole Mikel thing with the 5 games. I
Yeah.
don't. I think they're trying to prevent one thing. They're trying to prevent keeping him for too long and it not working out because I rate the signings he's made. We do need a keeper who could play with the ball at his feet. I don't know whether Ramsdale can, but I like the fact that he's 23. He's proven himself. He's in the England team. Can't get a bit better than that. You're not going to go and sign a David De Gea. You're not going to sign Edison or an Allison or a Donnarumma. Like we're not that club. We don't need to spend 70, 80 mil on a keeper. That's unnecessary. Ramsdale, I think, will play ahead of Leno later this season. I think that Leno's time is slowly, as good as he is with saving the ball, clearly Mikel's stubborn in his way. He wants to play out the back with the players he's got. So he's going to need a keeper that can do that. And I think Ramsdale might be a long-term keeper for us. For 24 mil, I think it's a steal. Given that Sheffield actually signed him for 19 million, we picked him up for 24. That's not too bad.
So
Um,
would you say that Sheffield will be disappointed with the sale?
yeah, without a doubt. I think they were holding up for 40 at first. So if I'm correct.
Yeah, I read that, and Madrid wanted 50 for Odegaard.
Yeah. And you know what? Good on Arsenal because I haven't seen Arsenal do that in a while. Where they played hardball and it worked out. 16 million saved on Ramsdale and about 15 million saved on Odegaard. Which I think Odegaard for 35 million is a very like underrated signing at that price.
Compared to what you've spent.
Let's get on to Ben White. Take it into
Yeah,
perspective. He's English. He's 23. He had 3 years left on his contract. And Brighton had no reason to sell. I think 50 million for him is good. Young English centre back meets the English quota. The English tax probably put on an extra 10, 15 million on top of that. United fans want to go on and brag about Varane for 40 million. Well, you're paying him 400k a week. You're literally paying, like, if you calculate all of that, that's $1.6 million a month. That's about 12, and then you add 6. Yeah. Well, you're paying him almost $20 million, about $20 million a year in wages. Like, come on. We're paying Ben White 80k a week. 80k a week.
that's actually very smart. That's very smart, considering that's your number one. Actually, no, your number two defender, but your number one centre back.
Yeah. Like, put that into perspective. They're paying Varane in wages what they paid for Maguire as a transfer fee, and then they put Maguire on a lucrative contract as well. I think it was nearing anywhere between 150 and 200 a week as well. So, good transfer business by Arsenal, if you ask me. So, that's your centre back sorted for the next decade. You've got a left back sorted for the next decade. Well, I'm not saying they're going to stay there for 10 years, but at least 5 to 7 years. Okay, Tierney, Gabriel, White. You just need to go out and buy a right back. That's how I see it. They bought Lokonga and Tavares, who are underrated signings. They've gone to clubs like Benfica and Anderlecht, who produce player after player, and they've picked up two. Like, I don't know if you've had the chance to watch them, but Lokonga was the guy that started with Xhaka in the midfield this week.
Yeah,
The balls he was picking outside the teeny, coming back, tracking back, class player for 17 million. That's a steal. Tavares was a
yeah,
player who came on for Kieran Tierney. We bought him for 8 million, and he looks one hell of a player.
yeah. That's just it's more so. I think now it's pressure in terms of Arteta
Mm.
because I think everyone's just pointing fingers at him. Fair enough, he's the manager, and obviously it hasn't been like great. But I feel like there's just a bit of like a misconception of where the club is right now. Like
Yeah,
honestly speaking, I don't think Arsenal like can be spoken or can be talked about like they're a Champions League like a top five or even like top four, five, six like team anymore. Like you're in that talk with you're in that talk with Tottenham really, and I think that bugs you guys a lot more than it should. Like in the end, it's like it's a reality. Like you sort of just need to like move on with it. And I think the fact that he's made five of how many signings was it? Five, six,
we made 5 signings.
five signings, all under 23s, and how much? 130 mil.
Yeah.
Not bad. Like I think he just now it's sort of he's sort of shown like the project scope and it's sort of
Yeah.
just see where it goes. Like I think give yourself a couple years, and mind you, because he's inexperienced, he's still learning things in and out. Like I don't think he should be copying as much from Arsenal fans as he should be. Obviously, from the reporters and the journalists, different story because they're looking for articles and they're going to be pumping every team that loses left and right. But I just don't think that he should be getting slammed as hard as he should be. But it's sort of it's tough. It's tough to say with him. It's tough because the game from Brentford, like honestly, if you started with, I think you needed to start with the game against Man City and then sort of go from there. I think like that game with the game against Brentford was just a shock. And
Look,
then
I
yeah, go on, go on.
I do have to say one thing. I agree with you. It is a big shock, but at the same time, like I know we're depleted right now, and I know it's not helping us at all. 100%. It's not doing us any favors. But for the last year and a bit, even like I still say to this day, his best football managing this team was the 3-4-3. You don't have the players to play a system like City do at all. No disrespect to anyone in our team, but we can't. You go look at the way Man City play at their peak, okay? Look at the team they have: Edison, Cancelo, Diaz, Stones, or Diaz, Laporte, and then you've got Walker, you've got Fernandinho, De Bruyne, Grealish, Sterling, Aguero when he was there, and then Mahrez on the right. They're all players who've got pace, who can hold the ball, play possession, keep a team up locked, get 20, 30 shots a game, and you can only score 2 or 3 goals a game, but have to break a bus off 11 down.
Yeah,
You don't have the players to break a bus. Your best football came when you were playing on the counter. Man, he made David Luiz look like Prime Maldini. When you were playing in a 3-4-3, David Luiz in that FA Cup run was our best player. On top of that, outside of Aubameyang, obviously. Dude, when we were playing that 3-4-3, you know what Shkodran Mustafi was like for us, correct? Right? You know
yeah,
how bad he was. We were gutted when he came off injured. Gutted. Gutted. And I'm not being sarcastic. We were gutted. So I'm telling you, his best football obviously came at a 3-4-3. I was watching this thing where the reporter actually asked him, "You beat Chelsea in a 3-4-3 here at Stamford Bridge. Are you going to go back to that?" He turned around and said, "Oh, I beat them last time in the back four." So clearly he's stuck in his ways. Look, I don't want Mikel to be sacked. I feel like him getting sacked will actually ruin his coaching career. It's not going to do him any favors. And I see the project in the long term, like Saka, Smith Rowe, Tavares, Lokonga, Ramsdale, Odegaard, Pepe, even still fairly young, Tierney, White, Gabriel. Like we've built an under 25 superstar team. It's a top, looking like a top
Yeah,
team for the next 2, 3 years. But my God, like the football we're playing is so brain dead. We don't look
yeah.
like smarter. We don't look like scoring. That's what I'm trying to get the point across here. The way he plays is, how do I explain it?
But you've been missing Aubameyang and Lacazette.
Okay, let me explain one thing. The way he sets up, okay, 4-2-3-1. Okay, we've got our fullbacks bombing up the pitch, and we've got Granit Xhaka at left DM or left centre mid, coming back as the left back, making that back three. Okay, Lokonga pushes up right behind the attacking line and plays behind the five that are up there, or the six. Where's your midfield? There's no midfield anymore. He plays without a midfield, and the reason why we just keep playing like a donut, where essentially we keep passing from left to right until someone crosses it in to Gabriel Martinelli, who's barely 6 foot, or Aubameyang, who can't hit the ball, or Lacazette, who's being marked by about three defenders. It's just brain dead football. I want Mikel to succeed, and he's shown us that he can, but he needs to go back to what works for this team. That system we don't have the players for. 3-4-3. Aubameyang was he carried us on his back and gave us an FA Cup in a 3-4-3. Lacazette
Yeah,
looked twice the player he looks now, and even last season he looked like a top player. He looked like one of our best. It suits him, but we just don't have the players to do that. I feel bad for players like Saka and Smith Rowe because they're top quality players. You send them to a Liverpool, you send them to a United, Chelsea, or a City, they become superstars and they play their best football. But our club shouldn't be carried by 20-year-olds, 19, 20, 21-year-olds. These guys should be coming off the bench. These guys should be like, honestly, maybe still being loaned out here and there. And I know that they're superstars, but we can't have 3 or 4 of them in a starting team relying on them week in, week out. That's not right. Our senior
but
players need to step up.
I guess a point I do want to bring up is you can't really attract those guys that are in their prime at the moment. Like what player, like you said about Tottenham, I think can be the same said about Arsenal.
Mm.
Like, who wants to come and join a team that's not playing in Europe?
I agree. I totally
And
agree. I totally agree. But that's why this season needs to be the season that we pull up and finish in the top 4, top 6. I'm not saying we're going to finish there. Not by the looks of it so far. We're barely going to finish in the top half of the table. But this is the season that you can't mess up. You've got no European football. You can go and play teams like City and Chelsea and Liverpool and have a chance because they've just played 2 midweek games or a midweek game and they've played on Sunday. Like
yeah,
you should be taking that chance. But I'm not saying we're going to attract your Ronaldo's. Ronaldo's not going to leave Juventus to come to Arsenal. I'm not saying that. And I'm not saying players like Haaland are going to come to Arsenal. I'm not saying all of that. But Arsenal still have a better pulling power than Tottenham do, and you can't deny that.
oh, I think it's just the history. That just the main difference is the history because between the two clubs, one's 1-0, like 1-0.
Hmm.
Excuse me. Whilst the other has won a lot in its
Yeah,
history.
yeah. And it's not so much the way, if you haven't realized, the way Mikel and Pep manage, they don't go for superstars. They don't go for the players in their prime. Jack Grealish is probably an exception, but name a player Pep has picked up in his prime, as you call it.
Well, if he was going to sign Harry Kane, but we don't know. We don't know whether that's going to happen or not.
Outside of this window, he built his empire based off players that fit the system. And that's what Mikel's doing. I don't think we need to sign superstars. I'd love for us to sign superstars, but I think I'd rather sign players that fit the system rather than players that are going to bring in shirt sales and all of that. Like Arsenal in itself drop crazy kicks. They don't need shirt sales with numbers on the back. Like at the end of the day, I still feel that Mikel. You want my prediction? I think Mikel's going to get sacked.
So I think Arsenal fans, instead of looking at the whole season as a whole, you're sort of just looking everything 5 games really. Like
Yeah, I
you need to
don't
be
want him
looking
to
at
get.
the next 5 games.
I don't want him to get sacked. I personally, my personal opinion, I don't want him to get sacked. Yeah, I'd love an Antonio Conte at the club. Don't get me wrong, but I think I see differently to those Arsenal fans that are just pure aggression. I see the long-term vision that Mikel has. I see that in 3, 4 years' time, you're going to have a Bukayo Saka who's going to be hitting his prime, and Emil Smith Rowe who's by then developed into a proper De Bruyne-like player. The way he plays, he got nicknamed Croydon De Bruyne. Like that's what they started calling him because they play so alike. You're gonna have
Yeah,
players like Klokonga who are eventually gonna come to the starting team because Partey is aging. Even Tierney will be in his prime. Gabriel and White hopefully built a partnership that could become one of the best in the league. I'm not saying they are, but there's potential there. You got Aaron Ramsdale, who honestly, if a keeper can make a million saves behind a really bad defense at Sheffield, you can make top saves behind the half decent centre back pairing at Arsenal. That's how I see it. You just need a right back and probably a striker, but I believe Martinelli could become a prime number 9. He could become
well,
the number 9.
you said right back, and I heard that you're looking at Atletico Madrid.
Kieran Trippier.
Kieran, yeah, Kieran Trippier. Like, I think that'd be an amazing signing, but
Yeah,
to be honest, I don't see it happening.
at 34 or 32, whatever he is. Do we need another William? That's the question.
I, I think he's a lot better than Willian. Like, I think he would be a massive, massive signing for your club. But I think after finishing first in La Liga, after just missing out in Champions League to the winners, that's the team that won the Champions League.
Mm,
I think he's still gonna push for it. I think he's still gonna push for the more like the trophies really, because that's why everyone plays. Everyone plays to win, and like I just don't see him signing for Arsenal at this in this transfer window. Look, it could happen. It could happen. I don't know. I haven't looked too much into the window or into the rumors, but I just don't think that he would want to give up, considering he wouldn't be thinking that his career's over, and especially being at Atletico Madrid, winning the title, and then having the World Cup next year, and then hopefully winning the Champions League. Like I think he still wants to be playing in the World Cup,
mm,
where England like
might win it.
do
Yeah,
are going to be one of the best squads out there.
yeah. Look, I don't think it's the right signing for Arsenal. It's not an Arsenal signing. I don't think as an ex-Spurs player he's going to want to sign for Arsenal if he really played
Oh,
for
that's right.
Spurs.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I did forget about that.
I don't like I don't think we need another 30, 31, 32 year old. Remember, Aubameyang's 32, Williams 32, 33. Lacazette's touching 30. Xhaka is in the late 20s now. It's 27, 28. I don't think you need another. And he's not a leader. Trippier, by the like watching him play, he's 32, but he's not a leader. He's not one of those type of players. I think what they need right now is just a proper right back. Like go out, get yourself someone like I wouldn't say Wan-Bissaka, but someone Walker-like in this team. Someone strong, someone who can defend, someone who can protect our right flank and push up when needed. It's Max Aarons for me. If not Max Aarons, you've missed out on the other two
Yeah,
options. Denzel Dumfries has moved to Inter. Hakimi has moved to PSG. So those type of options aren't on the table anymore. So what do you do? But
yeah, that's true.
again,
That's true.
again, on Mikel, like
So
it's
what do
sad.
you like? My question is, and I think this is going to be like it in terms of Arsenal, because where do you see the next 5 games?
I
Like
think
each game,
okay.
in terms of points picked up out of 15, how many points are you expecting?
Optimistically, 9, but realistically, anywhere between 4 and 7. We're not
I was
beating Man.
gonna
We're not beating Man City,
I was gonna
and
say 7.
yeah, I think 7 is probably right, but
Like I think 8 would be a like I would be pushing more towards 8, but since you said that, I was like, am I missing something?
let me sort of push it this way. Okay. Man City are just going to dominate the game. We'll hold on for the first 30 minutes. They'll score a goal. They'll score a second. If Pablo Mari and Rob Holding are playing, there's no hope. And no disrespect to them as players, but there's no hope. Like, they're going to have a field day. Pablo Mari's too slow. He can't, like, he crumbles under pressure with the ball. He gets beaten by the foot. Like, he's a big guy. Pablo Mari isn't, like, weak. He's tall. He has somewhat of a build on him. Yeah, he was on the floor against Lukaku. I know Lukaku is really strong, but come on. Like, you got to be doing better than that. And you're telling me that De Bruyne is not going to have his day passing around Pablo Mari, getting through Rob Holding with the passes, Mahrez, Sterling
But
running in behind, Kieran Tierney
but
possibly out.
also, I think compared to that Chelsea game was very different. Like Lukaku, I don't. Uh, Personally, I wasn't expecting him to play, and it was great to see him play. And he did what he did best at Everton, Inter. Like he's coming back off a Serie A title,
Hmm.
and then a strong finish. Not so much strong, but it was for him a good individual performance at the Euros. So I don't know where to really like keep pumping on the Arsenal defense because and then they come up against a Champions League winning team plus Lukaku,
Okay.
and he
Um,
just fit that team really well. Like I don't think there was much that you guys could have done in that game.
okay. I'll back on my point before when I said the system just right now with the team you have, not specifically the squad we have, who's available doesn't work. And it proved because when we play that 4-2-3-1, that four becomes a five, and that fifth member down that left was too tired and unfit to come back. And I love Bukayo, but Bukayo wasn't fit to start.
Oh, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
if
But
if you needed to start him, you play him as a back five. Tierney's proved himself at left centre back for his country and his club. He can play there.
but I think in terms of what Mikel did, considering that how many players are there out? Like what is it, 8, 9?
So we've got right now after that Chelsea game, you'd have Tierney, you'd have Gabriel, you'd have White, you'd have Bellerin still injured, Williams still got COVID, Bamiyang's just come back, so Lacazette's number 7, Partey number 8, um, who else do we have out? Nketiah 9. I think we've got about 9 or 10 players unavailable.
So in terms of the project 5 games,
Hmm.
like I don't think that's a fair assessment.
Me neither. I don't. But like, you got to understand one thing. That Emery season, we sacked him halfway through the season. Okay, I think they made a mistake by going that long, and they want to avoid that. But I personally don't think sacking him's the right problem. It's not the right solution. Like, as much as I am frustrated, I think it's deeper than Arteta. I think the fact that the Cronkies are spending now, it's a bit of a too little too late thing. Like, you can't just come out and spend now when your team's just finished 82 seasons in a row, when it's at its lowest, when the enforcements that need to come in to push you to top four would have come in 2 seasons ago if you pulled your hand out of your pocket. Personally, ask me. Like, we finished 8th last season off an FA Cup win. Players would have come through to Arsenal. They would have seen, okay, these guys have just won a trophy. Yeah, despite their bad season, they've pulled their things together, and they've went from what 14th when Emery left to 8th, and it was a couple points off top four, like 5 or 6 points that season, if I'm correct. And then they go on and win the FA Cup and the Community Shield. Players would have joined the Arsenal back then, but Kroenkes didn't want to spend. Up until this transfer window, guess how much the Kroenkes have actually spent from their own money on transfers since 2016?
Wasn't it like less than 30?
15 million.
Yeah, that's crazy.
15
Like
million. And you know what that was? That was them just finishing up Partey's deal. We only had 30 million to spend of our own money. They said, we'll chip in 15. So between 2016 and the last, was it when we signed Partey last year, they had spent nothing of their own money. They take money out of our club to spend on their American clubs. And my issue lies deeper than Arteta. My issue lies with the Cronkies. I think that the Cronkies are honestly uh, the worst thing that has happened to this club. Moving from Highbury to the Emirates was one big step, and moving to Highbury to the Emirates with the Kroenkes was a death wish, if you ask me.
Okay,
They
okay.
don't
Well, I
care.
think yeah. Well, there's definitely been. You're definitely saying what you're saying is not wrong. It's just it's big stuff. Like it's stuff that you could title the podcast, "Cronky out."
It's look.
Arteta in.
It's. I think Arteta deserves a chance, and I don't. You know what? And it's. I'm not gonna be naive. I'm gonna say that Arteta is in the wrong. He is, but he needs to pull his head. He needs to pull his head out, if you ask me. Yeah.
Well,
Can you hear me?
the owners did
Yeah.
sign a. I can, yeah. The
Yeah.
owners did sign a inexperienced coach to manage the team. So
Martin, but
I,
he's won an FA Cup. He's
I
won a
don't.
Community Shield. He's proven. He's beaten, like, with all due respect to him, he's actually broken a record for us that we haven't beaten a Big Six club away from home since 2014, I think, 2015 or something like that. He done the double on Chelsea last year. He beat United at Old Trafford. I'm pretty sure. I think we beat Spurs at home. I think we lost at their stadium. We beat you guys in the Community Shield. We beat Man City in the FA Cup preliminary final. I mean, what more? Like, do what works. And you know what? Maybe that Chelsea game that we beat them at Stamford Bridge was a bit of it was a lucky one because who was it? Their centre back kicked it right into Kepa, right into the goal, and then Kepa pretty much missed it, and then we scored a goal off that. Like that worked in our favour. But still, the 3-4-3 worked. Use the 3-4-3 until you have your players. That 4-2-3-1 is never going to work with. I love Xhaka. I love him, top player. But it's never going to work with Xhaka at the back. It's never going to work without a proper right back. But it's never going to work without Leno's no Edison. Like Leno could barely pass, barely pass a maths test, let alone pass the ball out the back. So
Jesus, because I really do hope that he watches this,
look,
and he'll
no,
just
no,
be
no, no,
like,
top keeper. But even he'll tell you that he's working on his game. I'm not saying he's not. Leno is working on his game. But to take us forward, there's a difference, Martin, between taking us forward and just getting the job done. I'll tell you now, we're going to struggle for the first half of the season. We're going to get to Christmas. We're either going to sack Mikel or we're going to keep him. And then if we keep him, he's going to pull his head out of his behind. And then we'll have a strong finish like we did last season. Last season, we went through November without winning a game. 7 games without a win. And then we went on from Christmas to the end of the season. And that's a point I can make. From Christmas onwards, when we signed Odegaard, when Smith Rowe came back from his injury, we went second or third in the league in terms of points behind Manchester City and Manchester United in terms of points gathered. So I can make a case for Mikel. I'm not denying that. The guy,
yeah,
like I said, had the second or third best points since Christmas last year. When he got Odegaard in, when he got Smith Rowe, the players he wanted, it started to flourish a bit. But I watched Burnley play you guys. I watched West Ham play Leicester. Why why does it look so easy for them to score goals, to defend well, to play as a team? Then when I watch Arsenal, why do we look so like it's depressing? Honestly,
it's literally what you're thinking. Like
like
it's the
yeah,
meme, it's the meme. I get ya. Like when your team doesn't look like scoring, it can be frustrating.
yeah, but we haven't looked like that for years. That's what I'm trying to say is that it's deeper than Mikel. And another thing with Mikel is he needs to drop his ego a little bit. Honestly, if you ask me, his ego is a big thing.
Ooh.
No, no, no. I feel like he needs to focus, and it's not having a go at him. He needs to focus on tactically improving this team before he can sit there and try to pepify everything. Because right now, he's just Pep without $1 million. He tries to act like that, but he's not Pep. He hasn't done everything at Barca. He hasn't done everything at Bayern. This is his first job. He's out of his depths a little bit. If you ask me, it's not a
I,
way.
I I still say he's learning.
But why is he learning at Arsenal? Why have Arsenal done this to themselves?
That's that's the point that I think needs to be made more. Instead of everyone trying to shit talk Mikel, like he's doing the best he can. I actually do believe that, but I just hate how he's being judged for it.
His inexperience has come into play, without a doubt. I
Oh,
think that's
oh,
one thing.
definitely,
Like
definitely.
Graham Potter could do a better job right now.
Oh, Jesus, 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 Jesus. You
And
know what? Yeah,
huh?
go on,
And
go on.
I think that it's that inexperience that isn't letting him pick himself up and readjust for the next week. He's just if you can't beat Brentford with a 4-2-3-1, what on earth makes you think you're gonna beat the champions of Europe with a 4-2-3-1? You're telling me if he rocks up to the Etihad with a 4-2-3-1, he's in his depths? No, no,
Oh,
it's a yes or no.
you know the answer.
No. If he's rocking up with anything but a 3-4-3, like he's not gonna make it past. If we lose to West Brom in the second round of the EFL Cup on Thursday, he himself just needs to like rethink everything. Everything. I think Arsenal need to rethink everything because we haven't scored a goal in 270 minutes. If we don't score by the end of this month, who's going to be our goal of the month for Arsenal?
I remember listening to something and someone mentioning that it was going to be a training drill that or something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah, I saw that earlier, and I thought to myself, you know what, like, good point.
it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
Like,
Well,
if we actually end up losing to West Brom on, like, that's the big teams aren't even in the EFL Cup yet, and because we haven't made Europe, we actually have to play in the second round. And you know what? Let's pray to the Almighty that we get through. So yeah, yeah, I don't know. Look, I like I said, I think anything below 8 points is going to be disappointing, but realistic at the same time. We're not beating City. The way we're playing, Tottenham are going to beat us as well. So that's just me being honest. We're not going to beat Tottenham the way we're playing. We're not going to beat Brighton the way we're playing. They're on form. So yeah, the other two games maybe we could pick up some points. But that's about it.
oh, did you have a little cut out there?
Yeah,
Yeah. So what I was saying was, I don't think like it's not proper for a manager to leave after he's just made these potential like these are he's made project signings and it's crazy to think that he could be leaving after just signing a load of under 23 players. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. And I think that game on Thursday for you against West Brom, is it?
yeah.
That game against West Brom will be crucial for you.
You know what? This shows
Um,
how low we've stooped in terms of a club. Like, if a game against West Brom in the second round of the League Cup is important, we have really like I think we're gonna have to play a strong squad to actually get through. Because if we end up playing our youngsters, and I'm talking like your Balligans and all the really young players, we're not getting through. Like I don't
yeah.
think Mikel right now is mentally and tactically inept to do something decent unless we beat Manchester City on the weekend.
The next game, Villa vs Brentford.
Um,
I want to say Villa, but Brentford are just the back of, or they've just had two clean sheets, so doing very solid there. But I'm still going to go with Villa.
I'm gonna go a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw. All right. Okay. All right.
In terms of the City Arsenal game, uh,
I'm gonna say 3-0
yeah, 3-0. I
because
don't think the score.
yeah. Like I think you guys they'll get the third and then they'll just take it easy. They'll be like, yeah,
Look, I do have to
grab a
say,
drink.
Aubameyang actually looked good when he came on against Chelsea.
He did. He did. So hopefully, or for your sake, hopefully you're wrong and there's a goal.
But hopefully it's 3-1.
Wow, the fact that you've been talking about losing, oh my God. Anyways, the next game, Brighton and Everton. I think that's going to be the game to watch at midnight because that's on the midnight on Saturday night, Sunday morning. Um, both teams got a lot to prove. Like Brighton, can they really do it without Ben White? And then Everton with new coach Rafa, where can they go?
All right.
So
I'm planning to bring in Calvert-Lewin this week, so 3-1 Everton. Calvert-Lewin hat trick.
we haven't even touched on, or we didn't touch much on the fantasy Premier Leagues, but I promise to the viewers we will do it next week. Honestly, we did not plan for this to go that long. Like we were even talking about doing like a 45-minute one, but I think it's just clocked over an hour and a half.
Yeah.
No, I've got to go through it all to see what the actual time is, but yeah, it just shows that there's a lot to talk about. And mind you, we just spoke about Arsenal really, and I think that there's so much more to talk about, but it's just hard to fit in.
I could literally go on for another hour. Personally, I could probably sit there and talk about Mikel, the tactics he brings, everything. I'll just try to summarize. Yeah.
You could have made this an Arsenal podcast. just off
Honestly,
today. Off today.
Yeah.
But I do think I did think this weekend it won't be like a new story to talk about Arsenal because it's going to be more so against Man City, and at this rate, Man City is sort of streamlining through everything. So just sort of see what happens there. And then so Brighton Everton, what do you think the score? Or win or draw?
3-1 Everton.
3-1 Everton. Okay. I was thinking 1-1 draw. Yeah, we'll see what happens there. See what happens there. And I think we will see Newcastle. I personally think that Newcastle will pick up points against Southampton.
Yeah, 2-0 win. Joe Willock to score.
Oh, I'm thinking 1-0, 2-0, around there.
Yeah.
And then next I've got is Leicester versus Norwich. In terms of my fantasy Premier League team, I'm hoping for a Leicester clean sheet. But I just like hopefully Norwich for their sake, but especially what I've just heard today. Like I don't know what to think about Norwich picking up points.
Look, in terms of in the case of your fantasy Premier League team, I hope Norwich have a clean sheet and score a couple goals. But
yeah.
Let's be realistic here. I don't think the Canaries are getting through Leicester. So I'd go 2-0 Leicester.
I'd say 2-0 as well.
Yeah.
West Ham versus Crystal Palace. I think it's going to be another side swipe by West Ham.
Yeah. Yeah. 3-2 West Ham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now Burnley and Leeds. I think Leeds are going to come away with the win there. I think Bamford, he's been missing getting a goal, so he got an assist on the weekend, so I think he will grab another one. I think he'll grab an assist and hopefully a goal as well for my fantasy Premier League team's sake. I really do need it.
Controversial.
Nil
or draw.
That's a big call. That one. That's a very big call.
Yeah, I think the way Burnley played against Liverpool impressed me. I think Leeds are on the decline, if you ask me. That Leeds could be a whole other topic. If that could be a whole.
Yeah, look, honestly, I think because the fact that Leeds had Man U got pumped there. Then last week they played Everton, solid performance, but then this week I think we sort of expect them to dominate.
Yeah.
And then if they don't, then it's going to be more so the question: are they going to be a bottom half team? So
yeah.
Like it's. I think for them it's more so like this is going to be an important game that they pick up points, and it's not going to be like a 1-0 win. If they're drawing 2-0 with Everton, I think they should be getting 2-3.
Don't underestimate Burnley. Brexit football.
Oh look,
honest,
no. I think Burnley have been they've been great so far. I just think like it's not so much that they're not good. I think Leeds got a bigger point to prove, and I do think Leeds have the better team.
Yeah, and Burnley's another one. They've spent 13 million, I think, in the last God knows how long.
Fantastic piece of business, and considering they haven't been relegated yet. Yeah. I remember Fulham was it last season, the season before. Well, I remember they spent 100 million and still got relegated. So it shows it's got to be smart. Tottenham versus Watford. I think I'm expecting a Tottenham victory here.
I think it's Tottenham's time to drop points.
I don't think it's going to happen against Watford, to be honest. I think Harry Kane might start. Um,
Might
even
start
if he
for Man
doesn't,
City for all we know.
look, it can happen. It can happen. So I think if the rumors still go on, he'll be on the bench. But I do think Son will start up top. They're just sort of it's been working for him so far, so I think they're going to keep going with it until it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. Man U vs Wolves. Based on their Man U's performance last weekend or this weekend, sorry, I do think they could be susceptible to a draw, really. But they got a big point to prove. They really do. Like they really should be expecting 3 points this weekend.
Let's be honest as well. Sancho is yet to start. Martial's on the bench. Cavani's still injured. They're starting without either McTominay or Fred. Like they've got a squad to play with. Varane hasn't started yet.
Yeah, that's definitely another thing. Bless you,
Yeah.
mate. Bless you. Um, I do think that Man U they've got a big point to prove, and they need to start showing it. Not
3-1.
just you reckon 3-1.
Yeah. Fernandez
I
to
think
be involved in all 3 goals, mate.
I feel like this is straight bias. I don't even know why I'm asking about Man U with you. I give up on asking. At this point now, like guys, quote me on it. I'm not asking him about another Man U game.
Mate, look,
No, no, no.
I've
Jokes,
got the
jokes.
red lights on, trying to summon all the Manchester United I don't know, ghosts, whatever you want to call them. Roy Keane-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
I think the game that I have left out. If you haven't realized, it's going to be Liverpool versus Chelsea. I
I
think it's going to be a cracker of a game. The fact that the potential match of the season is happening at round 3 is going to be amazing because the fact that both teams haven't or don't have to play in Europe yet.
mm,
It's the fact that they're going in strong squads. Um, I'm keen for the match. I think everyone knows where my tip is. I don't think I have to say it.
Chelsea. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No. It's
Look,
definitely going with the Scousers, that
I'm
one.
I'm gonna break it down real quick. I think that Liverpool outdo them in defense. In terms of their back three versus your back four, I think Liverpool have the quality to, unless Thiago Silva starts a different story. But right now, I think Van Dijk and whoever partners him with Andy Robertson if he plays, and
Yeah,
Trent will outdo
yeah.
defensively. I think the midfield is where you guys start to lose the battle. But attacks are free for all. I think Salah Mane versus Lukaku is going to be something to
Mount
watch.
James, if he
Uh,
keeps going.
I'm thinking either a 2-2 draw or a 2-1 Liverpool win.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be it's gonna be within one goal.
Yeah.
Can Liverpool keep a clean sheet? I really don't know if Lukaku plays like he did on the weekend.
Yeah, look, and someone
Yeah.
needs to bring Tuchel back down to earth as well. So who better
Oh,
than?
so you reckon Liverpool pick up points?
I think it's either. Look, I don't think Chelsea winning this game. I think, like I said, 2-1 Liverpool or 2-2 draw. But I'm leaning more towards 2-1 Liverpool because I think there's more goals in Liverpool than there is um, Chelsea, if you ask me. And I think they're not playing against the depleted Arsenal defense. They're playing against the best,
And
or one of the best back fours in the league. So
also the game's at Anfield, so it's gonna be a cracker. The fans just back to where they were, and especially at Anfield, there's no tougher crowd. I don't think.
yeah, look, and I also think that it's basically Klopp's redemption versus Tuchel's. I don't know, roll on, whatever you want to call it. Like, it, someone's going to be brought down back to earth. That's what I'm going to say. And I think Klopp brings Tuchel down this time. I think your system outdoes theirs, personally.
Oh, it's gonna be cracker. And it sucks that it's the 2:30. Oh, it's the 2:30 a.m. game for us in Sydney. Um, but I'm making every effort to stay up. I think it's gonna be a heck of a match.
Yeah, we've got a
Definitely gonna be on it.
Long Saturday night, 9:30 all the way through to 4:30 in the morning.
I might as well see what time the PSG game is. Messi's expected to make his debut, so that'll be good to watch. It'll be good to watch.
Yeah,
No, but it'll be this week. A lot of things can go different to our expectations,
yeah,
and I think that's the beauty of the Premier League. And I think we've gone through everything in terms of week to week. Um, Now I just want to thank everyone here for tuning in. Please let us know if there's stuff that you do want to hear and stuff like obviously today was a bit more Arsenal focused considering um the stuff like the weekend, the result on the weekend and the stuff that's just come out of the media in terms of the club and potential transfers. But please do let us know what you want to hear. Let us know anything. Yeah, if you wanna we will be doing this through YouTube and then we will also do some little clips through other social media accounts. But do not be afraid. If you wanna hear something, please do let us know.
yeah. Start. Well, hopefully you enjoyed it. To be honest, us sitting there, we tried not to scream at each other today, so we
Oh
kept
yeah,
it
definitely,
civil for
definitely.
everyone.
Yeah, we're keeping it civil. Yeah, no, I definitely do think that we need a third party if we're going to go into comparing, or especially Arsenal. No, not even Arsenal. I think it's going to be Liverpool versus Man City. Those are the game weeks that get serious.
Like I genuinely, I think I protect. Like I argue more for Man City than I do for Arsenal against this guy when it comes to Liverpool. So
Oh, I can definitely agree with you on that one. I can
yeah,
definitely agree with you on that one.
that's fine.
Um,
It took you how many 30 long years to win the league. That's fine. You can wait 30 years long more. Well, we're catching up to you anyway, so I can't really speak for myself. So what's it now? 17 years and
oh Jesus.
yeah. So that's fine. Anyway,
Jesus. You know what? I hope we prove you wrong. Honestly, I just want to prove you wrong. That's it. Anyways, thank you for tuning into our podcast. We will be uploading another one, or maybe we'll see what happens. But yeah, actually, you know what? We might do another little one on a fantasy Premier League team. Just sort of has to have to go with the schedules really, because both of us are starting at the moment. But we will be doing a weekly podcast. Everything, all things EPL. Um, we will be hoping to do some other stuff later on, but as you guys just heard it, we need to spend 2 hours talking about Arsenal. So yeah, no, we'll definitely look to um, keep going and keep improving. Well, considering that we've only just started this idea, so and we're not doing it hoping to get rich. No, we're just doing it because we love the game, and honestly, it's been keeping me sane during lockdown.
yeah, I agree. And you know what? Like, if we end up, if you guys keep consistent with listening to us and start enjoying everything, we don't mind jumping on Discord. We don't mind jumping on Twitch, getting you guys in, getting your opinions, doing all of that stuff. So maybe later on, whether it's 5 of yous or 500 of views or 5,000 views, whatever it is, or 500,000 views. Like at the
Oh
end of the
Jesus!
day, we're doing it for you guys. Like at the end of the day, like we love football. We're doing it for the people that love football. We're talking football with people who love to talk about football at the end of the day and know what to, no disrespect to people who don't know what to talk about, but we're trying to show you the other side of football, the perspectives, our perspectives, which to me as an Arsenal fan probably sounded a bit different to what you'd hear on the news and AFTV and all of those stuff. And it's
Oh
good. But yeah, that's all right. But
yeah.
honestly, thanks for listening to the bench. Um, it's been a pleasure. I'm Abdul. That's Martin. And you know
Take
what?
care, guys.
Take care. It's time to sub on.